Hello everyone. We are so thrilled to be speaking here today at the Microsoft 365 Productivity Day. I'm Ancelia, and here's my co-speaker Rucha. We'll be diving you deep into what is Power Automate. So, our basic thing is to for taking up this topic is for you to save your time, reduce your stress, and get more into automation. So, the topic which we have selected is Level Up with Microsoft 365 Unlock Tools that work smarter, not harder. So, a quick question. How many of you ever had to do the same task again and again, like forwarding emails, updating spreadsheets, or reminding someone to approve a document? Before I knew about this thing, even I was doing quite a lot of work. So if you're thinking whatever I just mentioned, it's half of your job, then this talk is absolutely for you. Today, we'll show you how Power Automate can give you back your time and brain power so that you can focus more on what really on what matters. So the next thing, so I and Rucha, we both are software engineer trainees at Orion Pro. So what we are today going to cover is Power Automate overview, the automation types, the flow triggers in Power Automate, the use of conditional logic, approval flows, and finally the implementation. So what exactly is Power Automate? So creating workflows to automate routines and repetitive rule-based tasks. So in the simplest term, it is a Microsoft 365 tool that lets you automate routine rule-based tasks. But here's the cool part in Power Automate. We don't need to exactly be a developer. Whether we are in the firm of HR, finance, sales, or even a student or intern. So Power Automate works for you absolutely well. So what it helps in exactly? It connects across all the Microsoft apps like Outlook, Teams, SharePoint, Excel. Also, it sends reminders, copy files, generates approvals, and a lot more, which we'll be showing you in the implementation as well. And the best of all, for absolutely for everyone, is it saves a lot of time and reduces errors. So it increases productivity and it eliminates a lot of critical issues. So let's put this in a real life example. So think of it as you're doing a task 10 times a week. You're doing the same task for 10 times a week. If the same task takes 5 minutes each day, so that's 50 minutes a week. But if you multiply the same into 50 by 52 weeks, that's 43 hours per year saved just by automating one task through Power Automate. So at a glance, this is your dashboard. So what it exactly shows is the home page. On the home page, you will find all the items from Microsoft Learn, the different updates, tips, and learning guides. Under the Create section, you can start a brand new flow. Like I'll be showing you the flows types as well in the further slides. The templates, these templates are pre-built flow templates which you can actually revise, edit, or build it yourself, taking the pre-built ones. The My Flows section, it views your personally created flows and those that other users share with you. The action items, pin and explore more items like the solutions, approvals, connections, work queues, and a lot more. So, how many of you like to tinker with tech and explore new tools on your own? So I'm sure everyone, mostly every one of you, don't need to be a tech savvy because as I mentioned, you don't need to code a lot here. So this platform gives you a lot of suggestions, previews, and tooltips everywhere in every form as well. So coming to the types of automation in Power Automate, is the cloud flows, the desktop flows, the business process flows, the AI builder, and the process advisor. So, what is cloud flow? The cloud flow is triggered, scheduled, or manual cloud based automation. So this happens in the cloud, like emails, calendar, teams, and messages. These are for tasks. The next is desktop flow. The RPA. What is RPA? RPA is a robotic process automation. So it usually mimics mouse clicks, keyboard inputs, useful, and this is useful for legacy apps. Coming to the next is business process flows. It's like the guided steps in business process. Like this guides the user step by step through all the business processes. The AI builder, when you take any feedback and you want to detect the sentiments out of the feedback, whether the feedback is good, or bad, or needs improvement, through the AI builder we can generate that as well. For the process advisor, it processes minings and insights, like it helps you discover what to automate, like a coach that analyzes repetitive tasks. So coming to a real world example, so let's say your team processes invoices from the vendors every week. So instead of doing these things manually, the AI builder first scans the invoice. So all the scanning will be done by the AI builder. The next process will be done by the cloud flow. As I said, it does trigger schedules, approvals. So cloud flow sends it for approval to the manager. And once it is approved, it goes to the finance. So all of these things can be done in the background. So this is how easy the Power Automate actually makes things easier for us. So next, coming to the flow triggers. Yeah, like the automated triggers. There are three types, like automated triggers, instant triggers, and scheduled triggers. So what is automated triggers? Let me tell you what actually triggers is. It is the starting point of something, and it is like when this happens you do that. So this is how trigger works, and the main types are automated, instant, and scheduled. So what is automated? It is triggered by an event, like when an new email arrives, you do the other event. So a new email arrives is one event, and due to this event the other event is triggered. Coming to the instant triggers, it is triggered manually through a push button to run a flow. Like when a button is clicked in Power Apps, then the event starts. Coming to the schedule triggers, it runs on a defined schedule. So as I mentioned in the example, every Monday and Thursday at 9 o'clock a.m. and 4 o'clock p.m. So this schedule triggers the event every Monday and Thursday at 9 o'clock and 4 o'clock. So this can make things so easier. So, like, just imagine if you think to do a task regularly, like it is compulsory, as in the last example, on Monday and Thursday, you have to trigger an event at 9 o'clock and 4 o'clock. But before you even log into your system, if the event is already done, see how easier the work process goes here. So, coming to the templates. So Power Automate gives you hundreds of templates. Uh, like these are the recipes, pre-built recipes which you can use. So if you want to save every attachment in your inbox to InDrive, so every attachment which is coming to your inbox, you want to save it to your InDrive, OneDrive. So just post a message in or post a message in Teams when a SharePoint item is added, or get daily reminders from your task list. So these all are pre-built templates which are already present in your Power Automate dashboard, as I had showed you previously. So like start approval when a new item is added, like SharePoint. From the SharePoint, it goes to the approvals, Office 365 users, and the Office 365 Outlook. And the good thing is that templates can be modified according to our need. and all of that already exists in the template. You can just pick it and connect to your account, and if you want to edit a new fields, etc., and there you go, your template is ready, you can start using it. So these helps us in learning, and you can reverse engineer as well. Like uh, you can help them edit the templates as well according to your needs. So like one suggestion, try building your first flow by using a template, and it's the easiest on the ramp. So templates make things so easier. So next is describe it to design it. So here's things get more futuristic. Like it's not like before, it's like a lot further than we imagined. So you can now build a flow just by describing what you want. Like till now I mentioned we had to add triggers, you had to add flows to the to make the things work, but here it's like different. You can now build a flow just by describing. So when a form is submitted, send a team's message to the HR and add the record to the Excel file. Just through this one prompt, everything happens. So the first thing is like describe the process, create the description like a copilot prompt, be more specific to get accurately generated logic. So this is your first thing. Next is a trigger and action. Everything is automatically generated. View the suggested steps. Select this and not what I'm looking for to see more design ideas. So you can make different connections, edit and configure actions, and save the test flow. So we can make connections, establish connections and permissions to data sources. We just need a single sign on, and we don't need to sign in multiple times for using the different Microsoft 365 tools. Like the Power Automates Copilot will read that and automatically starts generating the prompt through a logic which they configure. So if it's not perfect according to your requirement, you can say no, let's try again, and give some specific information so that it can build according to your requirements. Next is run the initial test from the editor window. Once saved, the flow is live. So you all can even test the flow before actually starting the making the flow live. And if the test does not work according to your requirements, you can make edits as well. So the next, like building blocks of cloud flows. First is the trigger. As I mentioned, it is the starting point of everything. So first a trigger is made, actions are added, then loops are made, like conditional loops are added for each if else loops. All of those are added, and then the conditional logic is added for the specific requirement of ours. So yeah, the conditions, if something happens then do this, the switch is the conditional logic. Like conditional logic, if then else. Logic can be so simple or complex. Conditional test can be single or multiple. Like there can be many if else statements according to our requirements, as we need the final result. Like we can write rules like if the department is sales and amount is rupees 50,000, send it for approval. And like once the approval is done, then generate a PDF of the same, or else send a warning. So this makes work so easier. So nested condition supports for advanced logics. So this makes your flow smart and context aware. So this makes work so easier. Like just by adding conditional logic, we can make things simple, and the complexity increases according to the requirements, but work gets simpler for the user. So the approvals, Power Automate approvals. So, what is approvals? As I said, when like if the person's salary is 50,000, just send it to the approval for approval to the manager. If the manager approves it, like it goes to the next stage, or if rejects, goes to the stage before it. So it quickly and easily manages the approval of documents. It incorporates with the 365 Office 365 users and groups, and its flexible design pattern and placement. It accesses items, expressions, and variables in a dynamic content. So it makes the whole experience so smoother and faster. It You can also track who approved what and when. It's so fully logged in, so people can respond to approval request. It is not like people cannot see who has done the approval or who has rejected. Everything is so crystal clear that everyone understands. It's directly from Outlook or Teams. There's no need to go into Power Automate. It's just the Power Automate that is working in the background, but everything can be seen in the Outlook or Teams. like Next, yeah, over to you, Rucha.
Hi, Richa. We are unable to hear you. Hi, Ancelia. Hello, Richa. Okay.
Yeah, Rucha will be just joining in a minute. She has some technical glitch, I
Yeah,
guess.
sure, sure.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Richa.
Okay. So, thank you so much, Ancelia, for the solid foundation of Power Automate's capabilities, especially how cloud flows, desktop flows, and connectors fit into this modern business processes. So, we have a really limited time, and at the end of the session, I want everyone to know at least what Power Automate does and what are the basic functionalities. So I'll be just showing you a little implementation. I've got screenshots since there is lack of time. So okay, this is the flow chart we will be working on. It is of an automated employee onboarding system built entirely with Microsoft Power Automate, using forms, using a few connectors like Azure AD, Outlook, and other third party tools as well. So I'll just walk you through the step by step process. First, we have got the form submission. Now here, the process begins when an HR personnel fills out a Microsoft form with new employee details. Okay, like there might be any fields like job title, department, contact number, their location, anything can be. So then we create an user. Now this user is created via Azure AD Active Directory to create the user in tenant directory. Now after that, we assign a license, we notify the manager, and we send the HR email as well. So we update the user data. After this, we assign a manager using the Azure AD attributes, and this supports dynamic groups as well. Now we name the flow branches out. Like we mirror access from another user. If there is a user who is in a similar role as the new joinee, then we mirror access from that existing user. So it might include many M365 groups. The previous user is assigned to the security groups, the distribution list, etc. And then we add user to the collaboration group. So we automatically add the new employee to the teams SharePoint using the Power Automate connectors for Teams and SharePoint. Then we provision business application access. We also provide app access for other third parties through either direct API calls or via predefined group memberships. And this all begins with, now let's just dive into how each and everything goes into process. Okay, so first is, what we are going to do is we are going to create a form. Now this form, just at the beginning of automation, this is the very beginning of the automation, that is the user input stage. Now here we are using Microsoft Forms to gather all the essential onboarding information. Now this form is titled employee onboarding. It is really simple, clean. Now, uh, just a second. Huh. Now we have got fields like full name, desired email address, manager's email, etc. So further down the form, we can cover other dynamic use cases such as mirror the access of another user, hardware requirements, so that the IT team knows that what to prepare for the new employee, whether it's a laptop, whether it's a desktop, anything. Then we have got business system access as well. So you can give in any fields as you want. And now this form is going to act as a trigger, as Ancelia already mentioned. A trigger is important at the very starting point of our Power Automate flow. So as soon as we submit this form, automation kicks in, creating users, assigning licenses, and provisioning access. And all of this is based on this input. So you can customize this form, of course, by integrating conditional logic or lookup values from SharePoint or Dataverse if needed. So let's go to the flow. This is our template. So I'll be explaining one by one. So, flow trigger. Okay. In Power Automate, first, what we do is we go to create an automated cloud flow. Then we choose the trigger. We choose the trigger when a new response is submitted via Microsoft Form, because we are using Microsoft Form as the trigger. So now this flow is triggered the moment someone submits their onboarding form. Now this is done when a new response is submitted from the Microsoft Forms connector. It ensures that there is real-time automated response to the form submissions without any kind of human intervention. So after this trigger is initiated, we get response details. Now we fetch the submitted form values using the get response details. Now what this action does is it pulls all of the fields that were filled by the HR, such as the full name, as you already saw, whatever fields I have mentioned in the form. All of these fields, they are fetched via the get response details. And just so that it becomes dynamic tokens, we just give our form ID via the Power Automate, and it gives us all the dynamic tokens so that we use it throughout the rest of the flow. Now after this is done, we generate a password. Now we have a generate password step. It is usually an expression log. Okay. So it creates a secure default password for the new user. So it might use a random string format. Okay, it is not necessary it will go in a certain pattern, but it can use advanced functioning like Azure key vault logic as well. So this password it will be later used to set up the account credentials. Then we set a mail nickname. Now we set a mail nickname for the user in such a way that that is in their email alias or a username handle. So if my email is like rucha.c@gmail.com, I can just set my mail nickname as rucha.c. So we use this to auto populate their login id or display name using Azure Active Directory. Okay, so now we have set the mail nickname as well. Now comes the distribution groups. Okay, so for this we need to have an understanding of Azure AD, what it is. Azure Active Directory as the mail address book or your ID card system of your company. Now this is going to keep track of all the employees, their usernames, their passwords, which team they belong to, what software they are going to use. So this is just like a school that has a database of students and staff. Okay. So using this Active AD, Azure Active Directory, we are going to create a user in the Azure AD. So we want to create a new employee account in the company system whenever someone joins in, so that they can log in via Outlook, via Team, SharePoint, OneNote, etc. So okay, once this is done, what we can do is we can like for the creating user in Azure Active Directory, we have to click on the new step, then create an user. We need to log into it. You will be asked to sign in. This must be an admin account, of course, because of course the admin is going to have the access to create new users. So choose the option from Azure Active Directory and fill in whatever fields you like display name, user principal name, nickname, just like I mentioned earlier. Then set the account enabled as true, so that it means the account will be active and you will have your password profile. That is, you set a temporary password as well. And then force change password should be true, so that the employee has to set their own password when they log in for the very first time. So after this, now we get into the group membership logic. Now this step, it adds the new user to the default distribution groups, maybe all employee list or maybe department wide different groups. Now this is usually done via Azure AD, at least in our workflow. So these group controls what emails, announcements, and shared resources the user will see from day one. Then we run a step called as get manager. Now this could either query the Azure Active Directory for the user manager based on their email, or use the manager's email which we have directly entered in the form. Now this information is very useful for assigning reporting hierarchy, triggering approval flows, or setting up the chart. Now after this is done, here comes okay, this is continuous. So after this is done, we have collected the necessary user details. Okay, we have set up the tokens. The flow transitions into what I call as the post creation automation zone. Now this is where the user actually the configuration takes place via Azure AD, and notifications are sent out. So this is the logical step. Here we assign the manager. First step here is assigning the reporting manager for the new employee. Now this is critical for enabling workflows like performance review. Then we have got expense approvals, we have leave request, and many other functions. These are managed by the manager. So we assign it via the Microsoft AD. Ensure that there are other things, team approvals and charts functions working properly as well. Then we assign license. Okay, so now I have already told you that there are distribution groups the user will be assigned to differently to whatever departments they belong in. Now to each group there will be some sort of licenses which the user will have access to. So once the manager is assigned, we move to assigning the right M365 license depending on the employee's role. This is where we unlock access to core apps like Outlook, SharePoint, OneDrive, and many other M365 tools. So we use this assign license action in the M365 admin connector. So we specify the user ID as well, and we can optionally specific service plans, we can enable it or disable them anytime. So by doing this programmatically, we avoid manually assigning each and every license for every new joiner, saving hours of admin time. Now we send email to manager or HR. We generate a real-time email notification. This is triggered using Outlook or M365 mail connector. Now the employees' temporary login credentials, onboarding checklist, and department specific links, they are shared via this channel. So you can personalize this email using dynamic content from the form submission, as I've already mentioned, that you can give your form ID which you have created earlier, and through that you can just go with the flow. So you could also embed loop components in order to make it attractive and interactive, and to filter some logic. Okay, so here we have used delay block. Now okay, delay block is kind of important because we include a delay block in a flow, especially before proceeding to update the user profile again. Now why is this important? Because license agreement and manager updates, they may not reflect immediately in the backend, right? So these are asynchronous, they are cloud actions, and they may take a few seconds to finalize. We insert a delay using usually around 1 to 2 minutes to give the background processes enough time in order to complete. Then we update the user. So this in the update user, we can update any kind of metadata of the user profile, and this could be anything: their job title, their department, their location, then their custom attributes like the employee ID as well. Okay, so at this point the user is fully onboarded in the Microsoft that is the Azure AD Active Directory, and is ready to access their workspace. So up to this point of the flow, what we have did is we have created the user, assigned licenses, sent an email. Now we enter the most powerful part, that is mirroring our group relationships. Okay, so just a second. Yeah. Huh. So we it is like, okay, so for example, let's say a new hire is joining the marketing team. Okay, and we want them to have the same access as another person who is already there in the team. So instead of manually checking what the existing user has, we copy the same permission and group access automatically. So it is like how it works in steps. I'll just tell you that. First, you get the reference user. This is the person whose access you want to copy. Okay, you use the email address from the form, and then you use the action get user. This tells Power Automate what the person is. I mean, who the person is. Then after that, we get their group membership. We find out which group they belong to, and this can be done via action, which is get member groups. Now this returns a list, maybe they are in marketing, maybe they are in SharePoint or any other group. Then we loop through each group. Now we use apply to each. Okay, that's a loop for each group in the list. Add the new employee to the same group, and then use the action add user to the group. Now the person has same team, same access as the other person the person was mirrored to. So this is very useful because it is going to save a lot of time. You don't have to assign access manually, and it ensures consistency. Now if you're going to do it manually, you might at times forget some permissions, setting up some permissions for the new user. So using this, it will make sure that it has mirrored all kind of permissions the older employees had. So there is consistency among everyone, and perfect for teams that have standard access needs. Okay, so if we talk in real life analogy, suppose a new person, okay, Ravi has joined a sales team. In that form, HR writes mirror access from Priya. Now, what Power Automate does is Power Automate creates Ravi's user ID. Okay. Now, once this user ID has been created, Power Automate finds Priya. Now, if it checks which rooms or groups Priya has keys to. It gives Ravi the same keys as Priya has. So now it's done. Ravi has the same access as Priya. Its working is kind of this way. You get groups of mirrored user. Okay, we begin by pulling the list of M365 groups associated with our reference user. Think of this as a person, someone whose group membership we want to replicate as the new joiner. Now we put a condition that did any groups return. If it is true, we can proceed with the group logic, or if it comes as false, we can just exit or skip the loop. So we check whether any group were actually retrieved. This avoids the unnecessary API calls and lets us, gracefully skip the logic if needed. Then we loop through the groups. Now we enter the for each loop, which I already mentioned earlier, that iterates through every group that is tied to the mirrored user. It fetches the data, identify the type, whether it is static, dynamic, decide if we should clone it. Okay. Then after that, we get the group. We retrieve the detailed information for the current group in context, including whether it's dynamic group, distribution list, or security group. So we retrieve the detailed information in such a way. Okay, let me zoom in. Yeah. So in such a way that the essential information for the decisions we are about to make, it everything is retrieved, and then we check for dynamic group. So this is a smart filtering moment, we can say. We don't want to assign dynamic groups to our user manually, because membership is rule based, like location, department, everything matters at this point. So adding manually will have no effect or could conflict with dynamic rules. So again, we can set the conditions true. If it is true, we can just skip it, and if it is false, we can move in to check if it's a distribution group. Check for distribution group, and these are email based, and the user may need to be added explicitly. So this is essentially common for shared mailbox, team aliases, etc. Then we get the group members and filter array. We deep dive. For standard groups, we just fetch the current members, then filter the array in order to avoid adding the user if if they are already present. Okay. Then this entire block showcases how deeply Power Automate can reason over user and grouping data. We are not just blindly, copying memberships. We are filtering intelligently with each and every attribute that is important. It checks the type, whether it is dynamic group, distribution list, the membership, the member verification. Then we add scalable loops, use arrays. This is what makes the flow robust and idempotent. So once we have created the user assigned groups and confirmed the access provisioning, we now switch into support mode, ensuring that IT management system and the employees access, they are aligned. Okay, we create a ticket. It helps tracking the onboarding task officially, ensures that the IT or HR follow-up actions, they are logged. It builds transparency for the onboarding teams as well. So for example, it will just give like onboard new user, rucha@company.com account has been created, pending laptop delivery and floor access card. So yeah, it will give you all the details. Then even here we are using delay until. So here we introduce a strategic pause. This is important because we expect background syncing, okay, to take time, or want to wait until the start date of the employee. Now, for example, we can use this like delay until employee start date at 9 a.m. As Ancelia already mentioned in the earlier that we use the scheduled, okay, in a scheduled way we use it. So we can use delay until the employee start date at 9 a.m. So this ensures that communication like welcome emails, they don't go out before their official start. So, okay, after all of this has been done, welcome email is sent to the employees. The flow sends a beautiful work welcome email to the hires work email, and this may include anything like the introductory message from the HR team, quick links, the calendar invites, the login credentials. Okay, again, why we use delays? Because you don't want the user to receive the email before their account is ready, right? You want to sync the timing to the start of the business hours. So keep that in mind. So What we have walked through today might just look like a workflow, but let's pause and think bigger. We just automated a human experience, one that repeats thousands of times in every organization, from submitting a form to provisioning accounts, assigning access, creating support tickets, and then finally welcoming someone on their first day. And that too with zero manual effort. It is a huge deal. Now, this is what Power Automate enables: simplicity, governance through automation, and human centered design through flows. And you know what's the best part? This wasn't even code heavy or locked within any developer. So it was accessible, transparent to everyone. So if you're just starting out, pick a simple task for your team. And if you're experienced, then you can add logics, just like we filtered using conditional logic. Either way, automation is not a trend anymore, but it is a requirement anyhow. And you have the tools to deliver it, of course, faster, smarter, and more elegantly than ever before. So, thank you for being such an engaged audience. We hope you now see that Power Automate is not just a tool, but a gateway to redefining productivity. So you can connect with us via LinkedIn, and here's our email IDs.
Yeah, thank you, Ancelia and Rucha, for sharing this valuable information with us.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.